BMW M cars aren't exactly known for their reliability. Sure, they can sound great, and they can be really fast, but most of the older and more quote-unquote affordable M cars are naturally aspirated, so your mod budget won't get you very far. And did I mention how unreliable they are? Rod bearings are a maintenance item that if you skip will destroy your engine. They use a failure-prone variable valve timing system called Vanos, and their SMG transmissions will have you on a first-name basis with your local tow truck driver. The only budget you can have with one of these cars is an unlimited budget, so I thought to myself, maybe a fast, affordable, and mod-friendly M car isn't an M car at all.
Enter the 335i BMW. Woo! All right, we're breaking traction here. It's kind of cold out, but the 335i was situated in the 3 Series lineup right below the M3, and this 300 horsepower sports coupe was available with a buttery smooth manual transmission, which, you know, I got. Now its engine, the twin turbocharged straight 6-cylinder designated the N54, was BMW's first mass-produced turbocharged gasoline engine, and to say that they went overboard would be a massive understatement. This thing handles so well too. This engine, well, it was almost like it was built for enthusiasts. So they stuffed a forged crank, forged rods, beefy pistons into this all aluminum block, and a lot of people compare this to the 2JZ engine in the Supra, not only for its strength, but its ease of making big power with really, really simple mods. Oh man, when the boost kicks in, this thing is seriously fun. Now, my E92 is running really well currently, but it wasn't always this way. I got a pretty steep discount on this car because of some issues. So let me take you guys back in time when I first laid eyes on this car, and I'm gonna show you exactly what was wrong with it and how I fixed it. And spoiler alert, this is like the craziest thing in the world. A shop went down a rabbit hole trying to fix a no boost issue. They replaced some pretty expensive parts, it looks like, and I was able to fix it for like 5 cents. So you're definitely not gonna wanna miss that and how much I paid for the car. So with that, let's head back in time when the weather was a little warmer. There it is, 2007 335i coupe, manual. I think it has the M Sport package or whatever. Black interior. Oh, guys, I'm already emotionally invested. This is bad. This is bad. You don't want to get excited before potentially negotiating a deal. Oh, look at this. This is game for negotiation right here. I'm at Chicago Auto Pros right now, and I think the owner is in there looking for me. So let's take a quick look at this car without him here. Woo, we got some accident damage right here. We got some nice roof dents, weird. Doesn't look like the paint has come up, but decent dents right along right here. Rock chips everywhere. Got to paint the entire hood, the entire front bumper. 335i?
Yep.
What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm Alex, how are you, man?
I've had about 5 years. Didn't do too many miles to it. Did the clutch about a little after 100,000 miles. This is the sport package because it has the lower suspension. This is stock suspension. And then it has the exhaust, but the previous owner either pulled the fuse or did some sort of, it's called a Golf Pick mod, where it just leaves the flap open basically.
Oh, this has active exhaust from the factory. Cool.
Yeah.
So what I really like about this one, aside from the exterior color, is the interior color. So I've seen a lot of light grays, you know, tan, stuff like that, but this has black, which is perfect. So it has like the brushed aluminum, whatever you want to call that. And the buttons don't seem worn out. Headliner looks good. Wow. Needs a little bit of a cleaning, Chris, but it's looking good. Sounds good. Currently no check engine light, but you said it will come on, right? Oh, there we go.
It comes on when you do a 3rd gear pull. It doesn't really come on a 2nd gear pull.
Did they tell you what the codes were?
No.
Okay. I wonder what it's boosting. It does kind of feel a little bit down on power. You care if I scan that?
Go for it.
Okay, yeah. When we get back, I'll scan it. Yeah, I wonder if it's got an under boost code. Yeah, and it comes on only at the top of third. Weird.
Yeah, only top of third. It's on.
Yeah, it's got to be some kind of boost thing. We shall find out. All right, so before we make an offer on the 335i, we got to figure out the check engine light issue. And for that, I'll be using Carly Connected Car. So I really like this on BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, a few other makes. It's a Bluetooth dongle. And we have some lights on, so now we're ready to connect to our phone. And just like that, we are connected. We want to start off with a health diagnosis and check for issues. And now Carly is scanning the entire car. And we have a total of 5 issues found. So let's go to this right here. And we're getting some speed sensor fault. So I also have an ABS light on as well. So we're gonna have to look into that. But right now I gotta figure out the boost issue. So let's go to engine. And we have a code 30FF, boost pressure control, boost pressure too low, engine output delivery may be limited. Yes, definitely. So what's cool with Carly is even if you don't have much experience working on cars, it's going to help you with diagnosis by connecting to the internet and searching that code and finding relevant articles and videos on how to fix your car. So right here, 30FF code, turbocharger air pressure too low. If you get this code, your N54 is not running enough boost. Okay, and then we have a bunch of videos to start diagnosing the issues. So now that we have the code and we can use this to negotiate the price down a little bit lower, now that we have that, we gotta make sure this is a good car to buy. So I'm gonna do a used car check. And by the way, Carly is under $100. So this is just an amazing price for a scan tool that can do this. But basically what we're gonna do here is we're gonna check the VIN number in multiple different control units to make sure they all correspond, and it's gonna do the same with the mileage. Carly has detected no tampering. So it's checked the VIN number, it's found 3 data points for the VIN number, so that's all good. It's found 2 for the mileage, so that's all good. Now I gotta research this code and figure out what I'm gonna offer this guy. All right, so I did a little bit of research on the code, and basically this can be anything from a torn vacuum line that we can fix pretty much for free, all the way to faulty turbochargers and wastegates. And being as how the car needs a little bit of body work, the wheels are bent, and it may have like a $2,000 repair bill under the hood waiting for me, I'm gonna offer $5,000. He's asking $7,500, I believe. Clean title car. I hope we can meet somewhere in the middle, but I'd really like to be in the 5s for this car. And something I'm not gonna let him know about is that I'm already in love with it. This is everything I've always wanted in a 335i. So I am crossing my fingers that we can get this somewhere in the $5,000 range. So here I go. And here she is. So I bought it. I offered $5,000 and we settled on $6,000. But that includes a few things that are very valuable, like brand new brakes. So the brakes on this thing are shot. So we have pads and rotors all the way around. I get all of the stock parts, and this car is modified. So I'll show you guys that in a future video, but it's got some pretty high dollar modifications done that I was gonna do anyway. So those are out of the way. Oh, and it came with a second set of wheels and tires, which I've already sold for $500. So I'm actually only $5,500 deep, clean title, 127,000 miles, perfect color combination. And other than having no boost, it runs and drives really nice. All right, we're gonna be leaving Mancuso's and going over to the LegitStreetCars headquarters to figure out why this thing isn't boosting. But man, it is looking pretty. Clean it up a little bit. But I can't help myself. I have to start diagnosing this issue because I know that it could be issues with vacuum lines, and we can do a visual on that. I got the cover off of the engine. There are a lot of vacuum tubes going on here. We have these here. We have a couple leading to the vacuum canisters. They are going to the boost solenoids over here. So just kind of a crazy mess of vacuum hoses, a lot of failure points. Now here are some of the modifications that the previous owner did. So he got rid of the big restrictive air box and went to 2 cone filters, and he replaced the charge pipe. So now we have a different charge pipe and a tile blow-off valve. So I was looking around, wait a minute. Hold on a second. That right there, that is the high pressure fuel pump, and it looks to be new. It looks to be new, but I was following some vacuum tubes around. We have our tile blow-off valve, which doesn't sound like it's doing anything because we have no boost. And I'm looking right in here. I wanted to take a look at this with you guys too. All right, here we go. Check this out, guys. This looks really bad. This is the vacuum hose that eventually leads to the blow-off valve, and it's hooked up directly to the intake manifold at this port right here. So it looks a little frayed up. These BMWs used kind of a fabric over the vacuum hoses. That came off way too easy. So these can look really bad but not actually be leaking. But yeah, just touching this, it's very mushy. This very well could be leaking. Yeah, this is garbage. This is total garbage. So we could be leaking air through here. Could be a little bit of a boost leak. It could cause an issue. I'm not sure if it would be that bad. So the guys over here hooked me up with some vacuum tubing, so I'm gonna install that now, then we'll clear out the code using Carly. And for you guys who have asked about coding your own car at home, Carly can do that too, and it's really easy. Check this out. So you can unlock and code hidden features, just go to coding and check compatibility. And what's nice is you can go online and check what Carly can code for you. That way you know what it's gonna do before you buy it. All right, so there are 13 computers that we can code, and here they are. There are like hundreds and hundreds of options. Pretty cool. If you have active exhaust, you can play around with that as well and control your active exhaust so you can keep it open when you want to. You can just force it open. And then if you hate all those warnings that pop up on your cluster before you drive, you can code those out as well. So I have an X4 competition here, and I turned off the warning that comes up when you start the car. So lots of coding possibilities with Carly, so definitely check out the link and coupon code down below. And a big thanks to Carly for continuing to sponsor automotive content creators like myself. Oh yeah, definitely sounds much better with the flaps open. All right, so I just left Mancuso's. Let her warm up a little, not all the way. Here's second gear. Feels horrible. Oh wow, I gotta check engine light in second gear this time. Oh man, so it seems like that didn't fix it at all. I kind of didn't think it would. I mean, it was good to replace that hose, but yeah, we still have like no boost whatsoever. This thing is so weak. Come on, check this out. Look at that. This is all the way down. So bad. All right, back to the garage. Drop in fluid level indicator glass marble. All right. There it is. And now we're gonna fill this until the marble is submerged. All right, marble is submerged. Cap back on. Okay, so obviously that vacuum line did not fix it, but we are back at home base and we're not messing around. I'm gonna smoke out the entire engine and try and find any other vacuum leaks. That is your first step of diagnosis with a low boost issue on one of these N54s. Before you start jumping to turbos and wastegates and all the horror stories, you wanna look over the basics. So not sponsored at all. I just went on Amazon, I bought this myself. It was the cheapest smoke machine you could buy. I think this is like literally a paint can. So I'll leave you guys a link. I think it was like 75 bucks, something like that. Don't know if it works well. We're gonna find out, but we do have to give it power. So we're gonna connect this. They give you a couple leads, so we'll just use this positive jump post right there. And before we start smoking stuff out, I wanna block off the throttle body right there so we're not just leaking smoke right out of the intake. So we gotta take some stuff apart. All right, so you got to get a little creative sometimes. So I took the cap off of this jar of grease. I jammed it into this rubber coupler, and we have a clamp on this end, and it fits pretty well on the throttle body. We'll clamp it down, and that should block off our intake. All right, that is solid. Good to go. I've had the smoke machine warming up for about a minute, and it is super hot, so it's ready for some air pressure. I pulled this big vacuum tube off, and it has two little hoses right here, and this is what feeds the vacuum to basically the entire system. And that is what, according to the internet, is the most suspect part of this car when you have a low boost situation. And look at that, pretty decent smoke coming out of this cheap little thing. That is not bad, that's not bad at all. If you get a more expensive kit, you get a bunch of fittings and whatnot, but I had to get creative again, so I took the rubber grommet from a GM4L60E transmission dipstick tube, and I put that over the plastic tube. Then we have just an old barb fitting. So now we just kind of wait. Oh, don't have to wait too long. God, I hope you guys can see this. Yeah, see right there? We have some smoke. So we just have to chase that back. Of course, it has to be all the way back there and not in an easy to reach location. But wow, we are getting a ton of smoke right now. So we do have a vacuum hose. It's one of these BMW ones that looks all frayed. We definitely have to check that out. That could be suspect, that could be leaking. All right, you guys see that? That right there, where that hose is leading to, is the Wastegate Actuator. And it was kind of hard to tell, but the smoke was coming out of that general area. It could be a torn diaphragm in there, could be a vacuum line. So anyway, let's reach in there and pull it off. Just gonna go ahead and imagine that a lot of working on one of these, wow, that came off really easily, is feel. Let me know in the comment section if you guys, wow, that really just came right off. There's a little clip right here, but that came off way too easy. I don't like these cloth like vacuum tubes. I don't know. They just kind of, they look broken all the time, and sometimes they aren't. Wait a minute. That definitely, wow. That is torn. That is destroyed. That is really bad. Look at this. Look at the gap. Oh my God. And you know what? It does look like this thing was messed with. It only had one of these. Yeah, you can even tell that right here and right here is clean. So something is going on here. Someone has been down here but didn't replace this. I don't know. And then another thing, guys, now that we have this all torn apart, that definitely looks new. That is the high pressure fuel pump, and it looks very new. So I didn't get any records or receipts or anything from the previous owner on this car. He just told me about the clutch, and that's about it. So this is going to, I mean, the wastegate controls the boost pressure, and we have a torn hose to that. All right, here we go. First gear. This has gotta fix it. Could be the first time boosting. Feels better, I think. We have a light that's out. Second gear. No, I thought it felt a little bit better, but we still have the check engine light on. That is not cool. Let's try third. Oh, no. No. That is not right. I've driven one that has a stock one that has just, nothing done to it, and it's way better than that. Well, I just looked everything over. Everything's still plugged in and looking fine. The engine sounds fine. We're getting the exact same code back. Anyway, that is disappointing, but we'll have to go back to the garage and check some other stuff. All right, guys, so obviously that was disappointing, but we got to move on. We got the smoke tester heating up. We have our official BMW /GM4L60E transmission grommet barb fitting tool ready to go, and it's the next day. And a little warning, don't try to fiddle around with your N54, especially back there by the turbo with a hot engine. You will burn your hand. So everything is cooled down right now. What I'm gonna do is leave everything connected, and we are gonna smoke test it again right here, and this time we'll be checking the charge pipe, the blow-off valve, and everything at the same time, and we'll see what happens. All right, so I'm not getting any smoke from over here. I'm not getting any smoke from over here, but again, I'm getting a little bit of smoke from down there where the Wastegate Actuator is. Yep, right there. We got smoke for sure, so that is so frustrating. Okay, let's do this. I don't see any other leaks, so I'm gonna hook up my little Mighty Vac vacuum tester dealie, and we're gonna check the boost solenoids and both the wastegates and see if there's any issues there. So we're all set up to test the wastegates on the car. So there are 2 of them. Each one has 1 vacuum port, so 1 hose going to each wastegate. This is the hose that goes to the boost solenoid right here, and then it goes deep down in there, which we'll never be able to see. I can't even feel down there, but this hose is going to the port on the wastegate. So vacuum testing right here should let us know if this is leaking or not. So the only spec I could find on the internet is that the wastegate is closed at 6 inches of mercury. Now, I've noticed that my gauge here isn't exactly calibrated, but right now we're just seeing if it leaks. So let's just bring that up a little. We don't want to go too much past that. So anyway, there you go. And if it was leaking, it would have already started to drop by now. So at the very least, not a major leak. We could let this sit for another 5 minutes or so, but I don't think we're gonna have an issue with this one. All right, now we have the vacuum pump connected to the rear hose. So this is the one that I had already replaced that was torn. That should have fixed our problem. Here we go. Pump this up a little bit. All right, whatever, that's good. And let's see here, it looks, oh geez. Wait a minute. It's definitely leaking. It is definitely leaking. Hang on, let me just check my connections. Yeah, jeez. All right, this is leaking. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is going down, down, down. Let's do this. Well, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do as far as this wastegate goes. If I wanna just try to replace it. I think you could probably do the diaphragm. I don't really know. But right now, I'm gonna test out the boost solenoids because I already kind of have it apart. And that way, at least when I place an order for whatever I'm gonna do, I get everything I need. So I've heard that these can be kind of lazy and start to leak as well. So let's check it. Yeah, yep, it works. Official test, official BMW test. These may have been replaced as well. It says Pierburg, Germany, and I remember seeing on FCP's site, I believe you can get the factory BMW ones or these for a little bit cheaper, but all I was doing there was applying power, and you can hear that this is working. Now, a more proper test would be to hook up our vacuum gauge while doing this, but to be honest with you, I'm gonna replace these anyway. From what I understand, these can get lazy and start to leak just a little bit, especially once they heat up. So this test isn't the end-all, be-all. They're very cheap, and at 127,000 miles, we might as well get some new ones. All right, guys, it's a couple days later, and off camera, I've just been looking at stuff and messing around and driving it and pretending that it's a little faster. Have you guys ever done that where you try to trick yourself into thinking the car is fixed, but it's really not at all? Luckily, this thing has a check engine light that just blares at me every time it's broken, but I figured it out. And all you N54 guys are gonna think I'm a complete idiot, but just keep in mind, if you've been working on these cars forever, that I have not. So I work on a lot of Mercedes and GM stuff, and the issue here is so stupid. So a vacuum hose, which was plugged into the wrong port. So there's only one port. It wasn't even plugged into a port. There's only one port on each wastegate, right? So when I was doing all my testing and I replaced that one hose that was torn, I just pulled it off of something that I assumed was the port, and I plugged the new one back in, and you can barely see down in there. So I wasn't even looking, but just wait. Check this out. I'm a little excited, obviously. Look down there. All right, if you had never worked on one of these before, would you think that it's plugged in incorrectly? I mean, it plugs into something. That is the wastegate right there. There's your little rod, and that's it. It's plugged in. But hang on, let me zoom in. Okay, do you guys see anything wrong right now? N54 guys, I know you see it. I know you see it. That is plugged into a bolt. This vacuum hose is plugged into a bolt. It is a bolt that goes through this clamp right here to hold on that one intake pipe. But hang on, this thing is hot. It's hot right now. I just found this, so I'm gonna burn myself, okay? In the interest of showing you guys this now, and yeah, it's gonna hurt, but here we go. Okay. Oh, I could definitely, I can take it off without burning myself. I can't imagine I could ever put that on wherever it goes without burning myself, but here it is. Here is our hose. This is so stupid. Focus, people, focus. And still, oh, there it is, yeah. See, it's so stupid, you can't even see it. See the bolt? That's what it was plugged into. It's just slid right over the threads on the bolt. Now, you see those two nuts? It's the one right below that. So it's just pushed over there. So basically, it wasn't getting any kind of source vacuum reading. It wasn't getting anything at all. Okay, so I went in and showered while the engine is cooling off. Got a new shirt. I am the warranty. I'm summoning the powers of Tavarish here in hopes that this fixes my issue. Actually, I should probably not summon the powers of Tavarish for that. It might end up still broken. I'm gonna summon the powers of Chris Fix, all right? At the end of every one of his videos, the car seems to be fixed. So let's see where we're at here as far as temperature. All right, my skin hasn't melted off yet. It's still a little hot, but I'm going for it. I'd have to get the borescope out to show you guys that it's plugged in, but it definitely is. So I did talk to Chris, the previous owner. He did not do any of the work on the car, so it wasn't his fault. And he did verify that they did replace the high pressure fuel pump in there for a stalling out issue. So a totally different issue, but maybe during their diagnosis of that, they were messing around with the vacuum hoses. I'm just not really exactly sure. He didn't drive this car much, so the timeline's a little off. But either way, someone plugged that in improperly, and that explains why our vacuum test failed. All right, here we go. This has got to work. Of course, we have some light bulbs out. First gear. Let's see if we have boost. Oh, yes! Jesus! This is nice. This is nice. I think we broke traction there. It's got boost. It's got boost. That was night and day. No check engine light. No check engine light. Hang on. There it is. Right there. There's the boost. Did you see that? We did break traction. That was second gear. Awesome. And then it has like this shift light on it because this has a Jb4 Tune installed, but it is set to the stock boost level right now, and I looked up on the internet how to change that, so let's do it. All right, so this car has a Jb4 Tune, which is like a little tuner piggyback box somewhere under the cowl there. I'll show you guys in the next video, but we can access that right through the cluster with the engine running even. You're gonna hold this button and this button at the same time, and I've already done this because I wanted to set this back to stock while I was diagnosing, so let's hit it. And now we are entered into the Jb4 tuning program. And apparently I failed at putting it to the stock tune. Hang on. That is the stock tune. So I guess it didn't accept it when I changed it last time. I guess we were on the first stage of this tune, which is 13 PSI, and some other parameters are changed. I think stock is like 8 PSI. So anyway, it feels really good. An N54 with even the stage 1 tune feels awesome. Oh, this thing is so much fun, so addicting to just stab that accelerator pedal and go. The manual trans is so nice. So now that we fixed this car for basically nothing, in the next episode, we're gonna give it some love. We're gonna do some preventative maintenance and some preventative blowing up type of work is what I like to call it. So things that will prevent the engine from blowing up once we start modifying it, which we will be doing. Now, there are some of you out there that have probably had a heart attack or two, or if you're from Chicago, a couple two tree, or if you're from Chicago again, that makes a baker's dozen for you.
That makes a baker's dozen for me.
And you probably had this heart attack because I used the term reliable in the thumbnail, that this is a reliable car, and you're probably thinking that is not a reliable car. Guys, context means everything, okay? I came out with a video on how I thought the M156 engine, the same engine that's in my C63 that I own and love, was the least reliable AMG engine ever produced. And it is. Right before that was the bulletproof M113K. It had basically no issues whatsoever. So when you're comparing it to that, it's a really bad engine, okay? Even the newer stuff is better. It had a lot of issues. I still love it. With this, it's the same thing. I'm not saying this is as reliable as a Honda Civic, obviously, but people will inevitably say that this isn't a reliable car. In the world of older BMWs that you can make really fast, faster than the M cars of the same era with a lot less money, this is super reliable, okay? So the engine itself didn't have catastrophic issues like all the M cars that didn't have basically disposable bearings that you had to replace as a maintenance item. The Vano system on this is robust. It didn't have really many issues. So it does have some problems, but they're mostly issues that DIY guys can do at home. So doing rod bearings is not something most people can do. A complicated Vano system, not something most people can do. But the issues with this car, which you're gonna see in the next episode, we're basically gonna fix all of them, are easy. They're all really easy to fix. The only thing that's kind of hard to do would be the turbos and the wastegates, which honestly, they didn't all go bad really early. Some of them, you could see these cars with 200,000 miles with the factory turbos, and basically any car that has turbos on it, the turbos wear out, the wastegates wear out. So this thing just had kind of a bad rep because of the wastegate rattle issue, which wouldn't always cause a boost issue. So anyway, not trying to be a fanboy of this car. I criticize basically everything, including my entire fleet. Again, my C63, I don't think the engine's reliable. I still own the car, I still love it. But we're gonna be fixing basically everything in the next video. I'm gonna show you guys all of the mods that I already have. They're in the garage. We're doing a bunch of stuff to this car. My goal is 500 horsepower, and it's just gonna stay as reliable, if not more reliable than it is right now, even with that massive increase in power. So with that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you're as pumped for this series as I am. And if you are, hit that like button. Hang on. I love boost. I love it. If you are, hit that like button, share the video, subscribe if you're new, and most importantly, have a fantastic day. I'll catch all of you in the next video.